Good morning, City Hill, and all our friends out there. Today I'd like to talk to you about craftsmanship. You know, a craftsman is known by his work, by the stuff that he does. One thinks of a violin and immediately you think of the Stradivarius. A guy by the name of Stradivari created these things and his craftsmanship has been outstanding. You think of guitars. Gibson Les Paul is one of those great guitars that are made. You think of buildings. The Union Building was made by a guy by the name of Sir Hubert Baker. People know them by their names. You think of sportsmen. A good sportsman, we think of the 100-meter dash. You think of Usain Bolt immediately. You think of the 4-minute mile before it was broken. A guy by the name of Roger Bannister was the first man ever to break that 4-minute mile. And now it's broken willy-nilly. We go to football and we think of a guy by the name of Pele or Messi or Ronaldo. These are great guys, craftsmen in the games that they play. But when we stand outside at night and we look up at the stars, what do we see? We see God's creation. You know, in Genesis, we find a phrase that is written over and over again. And it says, God saw that it was good. We look at verse 4, 10, 12, 18, 21, 25, and 31. All these verses explain or express the point that what God had created was good. We look at the vegetation around us. We see the plants and the various kinds of animals. We look up at the stars. And then you've got this big red thing up in the sky that we see every day that warms our planet. It's the sun. How long has it been burning there? These are all things that God created. Colossians 1, 16, 17 says, all things were made through Jesus, but all things were made for Jesus. And you know, the amazing thing is that all things are held together by Jesus. Yes, everything was created by Jesus. But now, what about the man in the mirror? Or the person that you look at when you're brushing your teeth? When you look at your family members, what do you see? This is the ultimate of God's creation, the pinnacle, okay? When God created man, he said, this is very good. You have been created in the image of God. Listen to what the psalmist says in Psalm 139. You created my inward parts. You knit me together in the womb. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Friends, you were created in the image of God. You are the pinnacle of what God created. And you know what? God wants to have a relationship with you. God wants to get together with you. As you go through the rest of this week, I want you to think about what it is that God actually wants from you. He wants to be able to communicate with you. All you have to do is say, Lord, here I am. Let's talk. And you can have a conversation with God. I trust that this has encouraged you. And I pray that you have a great week going forward.